On the brink of Armageddon, Bill Gates and his buddies are buying up bunkers. Do they know something we don't know? Is this the new pandemic? Armageddon now?
Thank you for choosing Fox News.
No, here's the Fox News.
Hello there, you 6 million awakening wonders. Thank you for joining me on this voyage towards truth. Please subscribe right now and turn on your notifications. And remember, we stream every day live on Rumble at these times. Watch us every day. These videos go up there first, uncensored, unexpurgated, direct to you and your consciousness. Now, let's get into this story. Do you think that crises are being used to further impecuniate, if that's a word, poor people and enhance the lives of rich and powerful institutions and groups? Like the 2008 stock market crash was ultimately beneficial for the financial industry. The pandemic was ultimately beneficial for the most powerful people in the world. The richest people in the world got richer. So for some institutions, it wasn't a crisis at all. Is it conceivable that even nuclear Armageddon could be part of a crisis response solution mentality? Firstly, let's have a look at some of these bunkers that are available for Bill Gates and his billionaire buddies. I've got to tell you, they're actually fucking lovely.
No one knows exactly what the future has in store.
Don't they?
But one startup company says avoiding threats from any potential natural disasters, viruses, and wars doesn't have to come at the expense of your comfort.
Yeah, why should I give up my comfort just because there's a virus and a nuclear war? I should be able to relax. There's another few million people dead. See what's on the telly. Repeats again. Why is no one making any new content? Oh.
This is an Epidem, a type of luxury doomsday bunker that could soon be underneath the mansions of some of the world's richest people.
I suppose what this makes me feel is that there are different strata of society. That's no surprise. We knew that already. Even anyone who lives modestly well is still doing better than someone in a homeless shelter or sleeping on the street, so I accept that there are different strata of society. But at a time when it seems possible that we could radically revise the way we live, look at alternative systems where we empower communities differently, to double down on elitism, to double down on the idea that we should create a class of individuals that are free from the consequences of the way that society is sliding, seems to me to be distasteful.
Epidem is the Latin term for fortified settlement, and that's exactly what this is, and much more. Company officials say each bunker is air and gas tight.
So that you can just literally seal yourself off from the world. Now, in a way, this is already happening. I have a much better lifestyle than a lot of people. I recognise that. But the idea that our plan for the future ought to be to create citadels for the super rich at a point in history where really what's required is a new model altogether is almost beyond parody and is certainly grotesque.
Allowing those inside to be completely cut off from the atmosphere outside for up to a month.
What are they going to do, though, after a month? Oh, hello, everybody. Listen, does anybody know where I can get some rainwater? Hey, what are you doing with that bone sword?
The shelters are also armed with the technology to make their own water, air, and energy, while coming with the chicest amenities.
In a way, that's already happening. If you think during the pandemic, I think one of the things that many people felt is that ordinary people were being forced to live by a lot of restrictive regulations. You can't leave your house, you must wear a mask, you must take certain medications. And I think there was a strong sense that that wasn't affecting everybody in the same way, that some people were travelling around privately, still going to gatherings. I mean, this isn't hypothetical. We know in our country, the UK, Prime Minister and high-up politicians were literally having parties. We know that in your country, America, the California governor held events. I'm saying that the pandemic was clearly a divisive time that negatively impacted certain sectors of society more than others. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments. Let me know if you agree in the chat.
Whatever is happening in the world outside, you can rest easy.
What type of moral centre is implied by the statement, no matter what's going on in the world outside, you can rest easy? Oh, look at that. Another child dying of radiation sickness. The gardener doesn't look well. Oh, look at that. Algeria just sank into the sea. Like, you can't rest easy. What kind of person are you if you can tolerate and cope with Armageddon just because you've got a decent wine cellar?
And live fully in times of tranquility and in times of unrest.
He's actually literally having a cigar in there. Fuck 'em.
Entertain friends and enjoy private time with your family.
Who are these friends you're entertaining, they're all dead, unless all your friends are super rich. Oh, look, the Joneses are coming by. Well, they seem to have a weird look on their faces, though, as they stagger blindly towards the front door, screaming the word brains, brains, again and again. And that's for private time with your family. That's all you got now. You're 24/7 in your luxury prison, staring at your family who you hate because they've got no morals.
Beautifully appointed and entirely bespoke.
What this feels like to me is that the most powerful interests in the world are willing to crash the planet knowing they would survive it. And if you think that sounds crazy, look at what they did to the economy. They crashed it knowing that they would be okay. Look at what happened in the pandemic. They locked down the whole planet knowing they would be okay. I'm not suggesting the lockdown wasn't a necessary measure or that the vaccines weren't ultimately helpful. I'm just suggesting that this is a stratified society where people making the decisions do not suffer the consequences of the decisions that they're making. And now it's taken to a ridiculous extreme. See that zombie hellscape, son? That used to be Madrid.
Or just savor having a safe place to reflect.
What are you going to reflect on? Well, that went well for us. Daddy, was that the right thing to let everyone else die? Let me reflect on that. It was, yeah. These priceless works of art that they've accumulated. Even the value of art is contextual. It's like these are what human beings have achieved. You can't like look at a Matisse or a Picasso knowing that all of the values that art is funded upon, a connection to something sublime and divine. They've all gone now. That's all gone. It's just you in your mansion with essentially nothing.
Your private gallery keeps your collections in perfect condition.
Freedom is the possession of those with courage to defend it. I don't think what Pericles meant by that is why don't we all bunker down and fuck society. I don't think classical Greece was founded on every man for himself. Let's hunker down, bunker down. Let's create foundations that fund media and pharmaceutical companies and non-democratic global bodies that infiltrate and interrupt the democratic process. Democracy, I think, was quite important to the Greeks.
Wondering if an Epidem is in reach for you?
Not really, because they're going to cost fucking fortune, aren't they?
Well, officials say if you have a net worth of more than $100 million...
But is that sarcastic news? Is that what sarcastic news is? Because look, here's what happened. Billionaires added $5 trillion to their fortunes during the pandemic. That happened. The world's richest 10 men saw their collective wealth more than double, shooting up by 1.3 billion a day. The ranks of the global ultra-high net worth individuals swelled by 46,000 last year to a record 218,000 as the world's richest people benefited from almost an explosion of wealth during the recovery from the pandemic. It makes me wonder if events are being constructed in order to facilitate the capture of wealth. Whether that's something like a foreign war that allows taxes of ordinary people to ultimately end up in the hands of private military contractors, that's generally what happens, or a pandemic that enhances the wealth of big tech and big pharma. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not saying that they planned these kind of things. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. I'm not saying that. But if a system benefits people up to the point where they can survive a nuclear apocalypse and it ultimately don't make no difference because they're at the precipice of an AI revolution where you don't need what would be referred to as a working class anymore, then what's the reason to not have a nuclear war? I really enjoy this guy's videos. He's brilliant, isn't he? But wouldn't you like even more of him? As you know, we are streaming every day on Rumble at these times. Now, if you are a fan of our podcast, Under the Skin, you've got to become a member of Stay Free AF. That is our community where you get even more fantastic content as a member. We're creating more free content than ever and better paid for content than you could ever imagine. We've already done interviews with Vandana Shiva, Wim Hof, Gabor Mate, Noam Chomsky. Coming up, we're going to be speaking to Donald, Bernie, Elon. I'll give you the surnames once we confirm the interviews. All of these interviews will be available on Stay Free AF, as well as my stand-up special that's going to drop in December, our community film, and opportunities to join me for live events regularly throughout the year. Stay free as fuck. There's a link below to join. Usually when we ponder this apocalyptic breakdown, we involve Skynet, don't we? The robots realised they didn't need people no more and they might as well have a nuclear war. Well, now it's like the billionaires have realised they don't need people anymore and they might as well have a nuclear war.
Unseen and untouched. To protect the people we love and the objects we cherish is the most powerful human instinct.
It's not, is it? The most powerful human instinct is meant to be to survive and love. And I suppose that's a version of survival, but sprinkle in little bits of bunker-grown basil on your sunny-side-up eggs while the rest of society is dying doesn't seem like the optimum outcome for a human life, does it?
Your Epidem is the only...
Mummy, Daddy, why's all my friends dead? Well, we sent you to a state-funded school because we wanted you to occasionally meet Mexican people so that you could be woke. But when it came to the crunch, goodbye. Turns out we got a robot to make our eggs now.
Designed and constructed to withstand ballistic, environmental, and civil threats.
And in a sense, their economic model can withstand that also. So it's, in a way, a real-life metaphor for what we're already experiencing. There is a culture that is behind a wall. And most of us are kind of trained to believe that that's normal and acceptable somehow. But it isn't. It's such a peculiar perversion of what we're evolved to live like. It amounts to an abomination. So their bomb shelters are an abomination. And the idea that this is in any way normal or acceptable or could be on the news without provoking a revolution is extraordinary.
This is security without sacrifice. Comfort without compromise.
Compromise and sacrifice are exactly the values that we need to get in touch with. We have to realize that you can't achieve anything without sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice, you don't have any principles. That's what virtue signaling is. It's principles without sacrifice. I believe in this. Are you willing to give up something for it? No. Sacrifice is a necessity. Until you're willing to sacrifice, you don't have principles. It's one of the questions I level at myself most. How much are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up? And it actually tears me apart a little bit how addicted to comfort I am. But compromise and sacrifice are what we need to learn, not what we need to negate. It's their negation that has led us to this peripheral insanity, to this precipice of Armageddon.
Epidem.
The name of their company, Epidem, sounds like an idiot saying, sorry, I blew up the world. Epidem, Epidem, I blew up your planet. Epidem, it's okay, because we can grow those plants under the ground now. Epidem, it's okay, I scrapped a Picasso from the ashes.
And can shell out at least $10 million for a bunker. Could be yours.
Why are the media telling this like it's a normal story about, look at this crazy new thing, rather than, okay, here's clear evidence that society is falling apart and the most powerful people in the world don't give a fuck about you. Because all the people you see on the news, whether it's from an influential perspective or a political perspective or a corporate perspective, they're the sort of people that will be in these bunkers. I mean, I'm a normal human. I'm a person. I think, oh shit, you kind of would, wouldn't you? You're like, that's not the instinct or aspect of our nature we should be cultivating. The news should be saying, listen, we're in real trouble now. The most powerful people in the world are beginning to prepare for the day when viruses and ballistic missiles and environmental threat destroy the planet. So there's probably something in it. So is this an amusing news story, or is this a harrowing window into where we are heading? If they're preparing, we should be preparing, but in an entirely different way. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think. Comment in the chat below. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either of these. Also, we stream every day on Rumble for 1 hour at these times, and these videos are up on Rumble first. Join us there and stay free.